Hello, my name is Dekel. I'm the Director of Technology and Field CTO for Tanzu. Today I'd like to talk to you about the Tanzu Platform and specifically about the app operation experience. In Tanzu Platform, what's unique is that there is one command that is almost legendary. It's called CF push. And that command allows you to build and deploy your application with the platform does everything that you need in order for this app to run. Let's talk about that a little bit. As a developer or as a user of the Tanzu platform, the first thing you're doing after logging in is targeting an org and a space. That allows you to have an environment in which you can deploy your application to. That environment was fully curated by your platform engineers, including all the services and the runtime artifact that you need. You can learn about that in a previous video about the platform engineering experience. As you push your application, the first thing that is happening is that there is a build or a source to container artifact generation. This is done using a very mature technology called build packs. Build packs identify the source of your application, what language and framework it's written on, and then assembles all the necessary components around it to create something that is called a droplet. Think about a droplet as an ISO representation of everything your application needs in order to run in a containerized manner. That droplet is what's being transferred into the platform or into the VM that actually runs your application. The build pack does all the optimization that you need in order to make this app containerized ready. For example, if you're deploying in a Spring Boot fashion, this will handle all the JVM configuration that is needed in order to deploy it in the right way. Once that build pack artifact is completed, and there is a ready ISO or a ready droplet to deploy, the deployment piece starts. So the build is complete, and then the deployment things start. During the deployment, the platform wires all the necessary components in order for your application to run. Runtime itself, like where I'm going to run it, the equivalent of where the pods is going to run. Remember, this is all done automatically by the platform. The developer manifest does not have anything about images or IPs. It's all handled automatically. The second thing is the middleware itself. Similar to the build pack that it identifies how to build your application, the middleware that is required to run your application is assembled and deployed alongside. In this case, this would be the Java runtime in the case of Spring Boot, or the .NET runtime in this case of a .NET app. And that's being injected into the VM, into the container where your application is running. Next, the platform handles the networking and the routing. So unlike other environments where you deploy your app and then you have to contact some administrator to change a DNS entry or to add a rule in a firewall so you can actually access your application, everything is automatically done for you by the Tanzu platform. So you can have a live URL to access your application the minute it's deployed. And more than that, you can scale your application to multiple instances, scale it up, scale it down. We'll talk more about that later. Without any changes to the DNS around you, there is a built-in router that does this for you. And there is some advanced networking capabilities that we can quickly mention, like mapping routes between production and development instances, so you don't have to restart your application and just quickly move the routes around. All of that using APIs in a fully automated way, MTLS secured end-to-end. Then we inject logs and metrics. So in the app itself, you do not need to worry about how do I wire my metrics, where do I put the agents. This is injected at runtime by the platform, both in an aggregated fashion, so you have the ability as an app operator to view the logs from the application business logic to the middleware, all the way down to the infrastructure in one stream, and then take that stream and visualize it with any tool that you want. But also the fact that those metrics are being injected into agents that collect them across multiple applications. In a previous session, we talked about fleet management. Part of this is the ability to look at hundreds of applications and aggregate their CPU usage or their memory usage and understand where you have bottlenecks and different problems. And finally, everything is versionized. You can have different versions of the same application. You can do blue-green deployments. You can do upgrades in place. And everything that is happening, creating a new version of the application managed by the platform at a large scale. And all of that with one command, one magic command called cfpush. All that you provide is your source code, where to access it. The platform does the rest for you. OK, so once you have your app deployed, what is an app without services? So the Tanzu platform provides a very simple way to bind to services, and it's actually called cfbind. Similar to cfpush, this is a very easy way to connect between your applications and databases that appeared in the marketplace, or to your Gen AI models, regardless of the model that was chosen or the set of models. It's also a great way to bind into AI agents to create an agentic app using MCP, or binding into external services. Regardless of what you're binding to, the cfbind command just give it the name of my app and the name of my service, and the binding operation itself is very simple, very consistent, so the credentials are injected in runtime into the application itself. You never specify a specific IP address for your database. It's also very secured, so you can rotate those credentials, and everything is auto-configured for you. So once you bind the app, it appears in the runtime environment of the app. It can connect to the data service, the AI agent, or whatever. And you can, as a developer, you can just continue writing your code. As an app operator, you can have full control of the credentials and how they are being managed. OK, so once your app is deployed and it's bound to services, now it's time to think about day two. How do I scale? Guess what? There is a command for that too, cf scale. Now, what we're doing here is we're allowing you to essentially the platform teams and the application team working together are able to achieve scaling of the application across different infrastructure environment. The first thing I'd like to talk about is rolling upgrades. You're able to scale your application, doing CF scale, for example, instances 10. That means that there will be 9 additional instances of your application spanned across different elastic capacity. And the platform, if you watch the previous session around the platform engineering experience, the platform makes sure that never those 9 instances or 10 instances are all on the same virtual machine. They are replicated across different capacity pools, different environments, to make sure that if your app falls down, the other instances will stay up. And of course, as we talked about the routing, this is all coming together now, as you see. The routing will make sure that it will be routed to the right location of your instances. All of that automatically, without the developer or the architecture or the platform engineer needs to worry about anything during runtime. The second thing is auto-replication across availability zones. Now, when you're thinking about scaling, so the app instances is just one thing. What about the databases? What about the different VMs that are running the application? The Tanzu platform allows you to do the scaling at multiple levels. There are actually 4 levels of high availability embedded in. The first one is the application instances themselves. The second one is the number of VMs running those applications. Then the third one is where those VMs are running across your capacity environment. And finally, the availability targets themselves, which is part of the IIS that you choose to run on. But what's interesting here is that you, with one command, you can actually get all of these 4 levels of high availability embedded into a single interface. That leads us to the final thing about fleet management. When you've done this at a 1 or 10 application scope, What about doing this at 1,000 applications across different data centers with different policies, different network isolations? Those are all features that are part of the platform, enable you to manage applications at scale from an app operation experience without changing the developer experience around CF push or the binding experience about CF bind. And that concludes our session around the app operation experience on the Tanzu platform. Please contact us if you would like to learn more.